Hi Anu. And hi Lakshmi. Hi. Okay, wow, that's booming. All right, I'm gonna. Okay. Am I audible? Okay, so I am going to.
Hey Ramya.
Hi. Hello.
Oof.
How has your hair grown out since the last time we spoke, which was a couple of days ago? It's not dragonflies or no, it's actually flies. Something I realized only after the top arrived. So, hi everyone. It's not yet 10:30, so we're just doing stuff like testing the connection and all that. Lakshmi, you can hear me clearly?
I can. Let me just try moving the phone so I don't have to hold it. I don't know if this works.
But you're sideways now.
So you're sideways too. So because I have my earphones on, so I'm figuring out if I can balance it in a way that.
So what I've done is actually kept my laptop open and I've propped this up against the screen.
No,
Hello,
because
Namita.
you don't have your earphones in, right? So I'm trying to see if I can.
Yeah. Is this music too loud, by the way? Is it disturbing?
No, I don't think so.
What about the others? Everyone in the room, hello. Thank you for joining. I'm waving to Muskan. So first I'm going to say hello to the people I do know while Lakshmi is setting up. Hi, Anu. Thank you for being my first friend, visitor coming in here. I don't think I know the others, but hello, I'm guessing you're Lakshmi's friends. Namita, I know. Hi, Namita, how are you doing? And, okay. So, yeah. Sorry about those pinging in between. My WhatsApp is also pinging. Okay. Lakshmi, is this audible? Is this better?
It was good before. I'm just trying to get my phone orientation a little more so I don't have to hold it or it won't slide.
Hi, Devru. Hello, Radha. Okay, the music is chill. I love that. This is actually my special playlist of nighttime jazz, classic instrumental nighttime jazz. So this is what I listen to. Sorry, I know the phone is moved, but I'm just setting it so that it goes on shuffle mode. Yes, so you'll hear a bunch of more of these as today's session commences. Okay, so it's 10:30. Shall we get started, Lakshmi? Hi, Jaisal. Do you want to say hi to all your friends, Lakshmi, who are here? Wow, 8 people. हम ऐसे क्या बात करने वाले? 8 people are interested in what we have to say.
Yeah, I was telling a friend of mine, she was like, hey, I'm so excited for your IG live tomorrow. And I said, it's going to be a really loosey-goosey conversation. We don't have an agenda, honestly. She said, no.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm just going to do one thing. I'm going to move my speaker. Because this is super loud for me. Yes, better. Can you still hear the music, everyone? Hi, Jaisal. Hello. Lakshmi, are you able to hear the music?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay. Bringing it back. Now?
No. Kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so then maybe you can speak a little louder so that...
That's why I was using my earphones, but is this all right?
Yeah.
Got it close on my phone to me.
Okay, cool. So how shall we get started? It's so 20 years, Lakshmi. Wow. I was just thinking through when I was writing the post, Facebook post about this event. I was just thinking about kids. This is how Lakshmi and I first met.
I think it was a New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, right?
No,
the party.
No, we met even before that. So what happened is I used to live in Marol in Mumbai, and then I moved some distance away. But I was still very attached to the place I grew up in. So I used to keep going back there once a month or so. I'd go and get my hair cut there and, my old salon wali auntie. And each time I did that, I would also go and just stand outside my old house, like not go in because we had just like kind of go and look at the window and all. And I would almost always run into someone I knew. And I knew this person, he was a friend of a friend, and he had just moved into the colony that I had moved out of. So one of those times, I think I gave him a call and I said, hey, I'm over here, you want to catch up? And this was way before there were so many coffee shops and places. I don't know what exactly we planned. I don't remember what we used to do, Lakshmi. Like, where would we go and actually hang out? Like, we just sit down and like at the basement of building.
At Udupi,
Sorry?
at Udupi restaurants.
Udupi restaurant is like when it was like a proper, like something like a date or, thoda plan karke and all that. But just like this chill kind of hanging out. I'm here for a haircut. I came to buy something and I'm near your building. Want to come say hi. So it was something like that. And I met him. I think we chilled near the gate for a good half an hour, gate of my colony. And at some point of time, he said, no, you know what? You're going back home now. So I will also travel with you because my best friend stays very close to where you stay now. I said, acha, cool. I have, like company to travel and all. So the two of us came across and the best friend turned out to be Lakshmi. And I don't know him that well either. Like he's a friend of a friend. So, I mean, it was just like a hi, chilling kind of a thing. And then he introduced me to Lakshmi and he had not told me any plans or anything. He just said, I have to go and meet her. And so like, I think your place came a little before mine. So I got down and I walked with him. And then Lakshmi just said, hey, you're cool. Why don't you just come for dinner with us? And I remember saying this, yes, but first I have to go take a shower because hair is poking. So both of you came home and sat and waited on my sofa while I went and took a shower and came out, and then we went. We went to Juhu, I remember, near the beach, those roadside places now. That's where we sat and had dinner. I remember that.
Oh, we had dinner.
Yeah. We did have dinner, but it was like something like sandwiches or rolls or something like that. And then there was the New Year Eve
As
thing as
befits
well.
our college student status. Although I don't know, I think I was not a student anymore. I had already graduated.
I think we had both just graduated because I moved to Andheri West in December 2000 and we graduated in like mid 2000. We graduated in the same year. So yeah, hi Jyotsna. So hello to everyone who's coming in. Wow, 10 people, Lakshmi. I never anticipated so many people.
I don't have too many followers, so probably they're all yours.
नहीं. See, Jyotsna and Anu are friends, and so is Jaisal and Namita. But I don't know, and Radha and Devru. Okay, and Muskan. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. So yeah, we should probably do something to justify that title that we put now, like speed limit 40. So why don't you tell me what it has been like touching 40?
I'm actually over 40. I turned 41 this year, so
both 40, of us.
40 seemed like a milestone, but when you're 41, you're like, oh, okay, it's not like one of those milestones anymore. And for me, turning 40, 41 has been like a huge exhalation. It really feels like a huge sense of and it's not anything remotely that I can really explain or I did anything about, but a general sense of loosening overall. And I think this may happen to every woman who turns that particular age, where you just feel as if there's a lot of, there's a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And I think it kind of...
Yeah. So I don't... I know what you're saying about the loosening, but... So last year, it felt like it was supposed to be a big deal, except I didn't have much time to think about it because, my mom was not well and that continued for a while. And she had surgery just 3 days before my birthday. So there was just no time to kind of think about that and process that. And then like some 6 months later, it hit me, oh, well, I'm into 40, new decade and all that. And by then it was already, people were already starting to say, oh, 2020, there's going to be the new this. And then people were debating that, is it actually the new decade in 2020 or is it in 2021? And then before we knew it, the pandemic happened. So like, acha, oh, right, I'm 41 now. So I don't know how much of this loosening, as you're calling it, is actually the age and how much of it is the pandemic. And, just feeling like, okay, I really better start adulting now.
No, I think in my case, it was something that started a few years before. I just started to, like just things just started falling away from me, which didn't feel essential anymore. And it wasn't like I even had any intention of any sort. It's almost like things that were superfluous just went away on their own. And some sort of distillation sort of a process. But, you can't really, it's not something you can plan. And I think it just came
Yeah.
about. And so,
Yeah.
but a lot of my younger friends who are now, in their 30s or whatever, and I just can't tell them enough that, it's really gotten so much easier. Like 35 up, it's just gotten so much easier in ways that I can't, it just beats explaining. There's really but...
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Zaki. Just saying hi to my friend who's come in. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I feel like every year has progressively gotten easier. It's not like the issues have reduced, but I think some of it is just a matter of perspective. You've gotten through, of course, we've never been through something as big as the pandemic. But I remember when the second recession hit in 2008, it felt like, I think I'll be able to tide over this, because the first recession hit literally when I was just starting my career.
Right.
And we lived through that. And then all of us at this magical age remember the whole Y2K thing. A part of me is still hoping that the pandemic goes the Y2K way and we are going to wake up and say, it was not that big a deal after all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just been but yeah, I agree with you. I think it's gotten a lot easier. Like you said, that's a nice way of putting it. Things have started falling away. Except in my case, it's felt a lot more gradual, which is why I'm thinking that in my case, at least, this is more pandemic than the age, because I've never had that whole feeling of I've woken up this morning and suddenly I'm a year older and suddenly things feel different.
No, it was something that I think started in my late 30s, and so it's gone on. Like I think probably 2014 when I was probably, how old was I? I was probably 35. And yeah, it started, and then I don't know, I just started, I don't know. It's a process. I think it happens to everyone at some stage, 35.
Yeah.
Some lucky people have it earlier in life, so they have less baggage as they age. And I guess we accumulate baggage, and then at some age we just start dumping it because you're like saying, I don't really need any of this shit.
Hey, baggage is interesting. Shall we talk about that? Because we are now officially at midlife, and it seems like a time to also assess, I'm carrying a lot of stuff. How much of it do I want to carry forward? Because it's really, really, like, I've been feeling this through my 30s. I'm not 22 anymore. I can't just push my body or my mind without thinking about it. And now it's really starting to feel like I really have to take stock of how much bandwidth I have up here and in my body and all of it. How much do I want to carry? So, yeah, what thoughts? What have you been feeling?
I think, I had written about this on Facebook. I kind of call myself a bit of a lazy slacker personality. I want things to be effortless. I just don't want to take any effort, okay? It really has to come easy, natural, like, it just happens sort of a thing. So, I guess when I was younger, you kind of take effort just because you think that's what it means to be, to be disciplined, to be passionate, to be committed. And later on, I think I realized that, there are a lot of things that just happen simply through alignment. When I'm in whatever alignment means to each person, a certain kind of, I am being true to myself at that point results in everything else in my life also kind of sticking to that compass, So stuff that doesn't make sense. Like I've always wondered, why is it that, at certain age, you have a lot of friends, you have a lot of people who keep coming into your sphere. Then after a certain age, the kind of people change, or then you have a whole different kind of people that come in. And then you wonder, why are these people entering my life? What is it about these people now? And it was different when I was, 10 years before. I think a lot of it has to do with you and, what you are radiating, your presence. And that's exactly the kind of people that come in. And It's just I think, you know, and that's why I guess baggage. There's a lot of baggage has fallen off because the baggage doesn't have any place to stick anymore. You know, kind of.
Yeah, that's a that's a really good way of putting it. So
I mean, it's not like we
again,
orchestrated any of this, right? We're really not orchestrating any of it. It's just happening. People, like, all
absolutely.
of this. So
No, absolutely. In fact, I was just thinking there's something I did want to ask you. So when we first met 20 years ago, and I distinctly remember that New Year's Eve party that you mentioned. So by the way, hi to all people who've come in right now. Hi Aarti, and who else? Yeah, Aarti and Nihal. Nihal's a classmate from MBA college, long, long back. But Lakshmi is someone I've known for even longer. And this New Year party was like a big, we were about 20. And I don't know about you, Lakshmi, but I didn't really go out for a lot of parties and stuff. I was not allowed.
I felt hopelessly gosh, okay, there. I felt like the most, I felt like everyone there was so beautiful, so made up, so glamorous, and I was so awkward. I was so awkward.
I didn't know how to apply
All over.
makeup. I didn't have any makeup, and I was not allowed to go to parties. I don't know what happened. This was just one of those things where I just decided. I think I didn't. I just announced to my parents. I came home. I mean, I don't remember. I was probably at work or something earlier. First job. Came back home, changed, and the party also was. I mean, it wasn't so much a party as one friend told me that her friend was having a party at her place, but was charging 50 rupees entry. I remember that, 50 rupees. And she said, dinner is biryani. So if you want to eat, then you will have to pay 50 rupees.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And that sounded reasonable because, you know, places like pubs and bars and all, you know, were a little scary at that point of time. I'd never seen any of them. But this was like my friend's house, and I had met her
A house
before.
party, so not like
Yeah, exactly. Correct. And it seemed quite fair because, you know, like her family's cooking and all that. So, theek hai, why not? So, it didn't occur to me to think that, you know, if you put a charge there, then that means literally anyone who can pay can turn up. And
Yeah.
I had probably envisioned something like 10, 15 people. And then each person got told, and then they invited a few other people. I think I invited the friend whose friend was the one that you know, who knew you. And I'm not mentioning names here because it's not
Yeah.
relevant here. But I think he's the one who invited you along. And so
Yeah, I think
many
so.
of us. And we got there, and the place was packed. You remember that? And then we went and stood in some field in the night. Looked at the
And there
stars.
were couples, and then there were couples that were going up the stairs into rooms, which made me like, ooh, this stuff happens
I know.
here.
Yeah, like, oh my God, this actually happens in India also. Like, you've only seen this in movies like American Pie and all, and you're like, whoa, oh my God, I'm at one of those parties, and oh my God, somebody's going to slip me drugs or alcohol.
Just that, you know, this couple that went up, and you know, it's just like you can almost think of what happens upstairs, or for the fact that nothing happens upstairs. You know, it's
Because this
just
girl's family was upstairs, so I don't know where this couple thought they were going. I remember the couple you mean because they were also dancing in that very tiny hall,
yes.
and everyone. This is a Mumbai house, okay? I mean, it was a house, not a flat, but still, it was very tiny. I don't think it was much bigger than, you know, like you can see the room behind me, the wall behind me. Not that much bigger, and some 20 people crammed into it, sitting down. And you remember the dog? There was one dog that kept throwing its weight around. Literally, it just came up and it would just do this, like, you know, with its
Really?
doggy body. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the highlight. That was the New Year party when I was 20. Yeah.
No, after that, I remember at some point of time, I think some 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, we all decided to, I don't even know how we collectively decided to go somewhere else. And there were no mobile phones then. At least, like regular middle class kids like us didn't have mobile phones. I didn't have a mobile phone.
No.
And it's not like people had cars or anything. Like, I think there was some friend ka, some car, something. And then we came back to Andheri West in somebody's brother's friend's house, which was a one-room kitchen, and some 25 people crammed into it. That's
Yeah.
when you and I talked a lot. I remember that.
We
So,
spoke about spoonerisms.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Wow.
And I could hardly
Okay.
believe that there was another person on the planet who knew what spoonerisms were.
Same. I remember this. Spoonerisms. Oh my God, I remember this. Yeah. And then we went for breakfast to Lokanavala, remember? High
I think
Point.
beach. Did we go to the beach?
No, we didn't go to the beach. I think there was talk about it, but galvanizing 25 odd people to get out of Manish Nagar and then come to the beach was proving to be a
Yeah.
bit much. So then we
Yeah.
ended up at High Point in Lokhandwala eating idlis. I remember that also.
I don't. Wow.
What a way to start the new millennium, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't know, I hardly knew anyone there, and the whole thing seemed so out of my ballpark, this whole experience. And there's this wanting to fit in, and that was never part of my growing up culture. Even in
Yeah.
college and all, the kind of fun we had was more about movies and maybe go buy books at Churchgate Station, or
Yeah,
go out to
same.
eat, things like that. Or the most maybe go sit at a coffee shop or whatever coffee shop. But
Yeah.
this party event with it was just so I don't know. It just was. I just felt like I just wasn't in that league yet. So I was like thrust out
So
of my simple Andheri existence, engineering graduate into this whole new world with bandra and house parties and dancing and all of that.
I was very used to feeling that way, like that feeling like I don't fit here mainly because I grew up in a Catholic village. The friend whose friend's house we went to also was a Catholic girl, and she was very close to me at that point of time through my teen years. So they would always have these socials and this Christmas dance and New Year
Right.
dance and stuff like that. And occasionally when there was like I mean, it wasn't even called a house party because house party tends to seem very cool and all that. This would be like her
Right.
parents would also be there and her aunt would also be there and food would be whatever and they would all jive. So I'd be
Yeah.
this uncool non-Catholic sitting in one corner and like very awkwardly, like partly hoping nobody would ask me to dance and partly wishing I would get asked to dance.
Yes.
That whole feeling was very familiar to me, just not fitting in, which is also why the spoonerism thing, when that happened, I'm like, oh, okay, like wow, this is a new feeling for me, like somebody who is actually speaking my language.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I remember that. I totally remember that. And so the question I was going to ask is, I was thinking about this earlier. Did life turn out anywhere like what you thought it would back then? 20.
I think well in some aspects it did because I was already seeing a guy then who I'm married to today. So that part went
Same guy, no?
yeah, same guy. When I genuinely don't think I would have had the energy to do this a second time. So I'm happy it worked out the first time I was serious. But
Can I just say thank you for acknowledging that dating takes energy? Because the number of married people who seem to think it is fun, it is not fun. The single life is not fun, and it just gets tiringer and tiringer the older you get.
the thing is, I realized this late, kind of only recently about myself that I genuinely do not. It takes some energy for me to engage with people, and it's maybe just like a personality thing. So for me, if I had and now that I'm a little older, I have less energy. So if I had to engage with people in order to see if this is a relationship worth investing in, I really think it wouldn't come easy to me. I genuinely feel that I got it easy because I didn't because connecting with a person and kind of entering their mind space, allowing them into your mind space, and kind of envisioning that thing takes mental emotional investment.
Yeah.
And we feel we're primed to do it because seeking partners, but not well. I have a feeling I would have I can't do this. It's just too much for me. So
Yeah.
back then, I'm happy it was a good fit, and we seem to kind of do decently well together. So now we are married.
Yeah.
That's nice.
No, in a lot of ways, it was also harder at that time, no? Because it just, dating wasn't something that was kosher. It didn't even exist in our vocabulary.
Yeah.
So,
As a thing, I mean, a lot of people dated, a lot of people went out as a couple, like secretly fell in love and all of that stuff.
yeah,
but it wasn't something that was acknowledged like, oh, that's a couple. And
it was a guilty secret. It really was a guilty secret.
everyone had to keep everyone had to keep the secret for you.
Correct. True. So it was a guilty secret. Plus, I don't think it even occurred to me at that time. There were people I liked at that time, and I had my share of whatever ups and downs, this, that. And at that point of time, it didn't even, like, there was a set trajectory. If you like someone and they like you back, then this is going to be end up in marriage. There was just no concept of there are different kinds of relationships. Marriage is only one of them. Marriage, kids at all those ages and all. They're just looking back, I'm like, yeah, there is so much still you have to learn. And in that sense, I do feel like things have they've gotten easier for the average 20-year-old, 20-something-year-old today. Because at least, I know it's still, we were talking about Indian matchmaking. So yes, Akshay's mom and people like that are a reality even today. But at least because of social media, the internet and all, people, like, dating is a part, it's one of the options. Dating, living in, all of these things. So I think it's just good to know that that's there. It's like being in a library and these books are there on the shelf, whether you choose to pick them out or not. So.
And I often hear people say, oh, the teenagers of today, they are so smart. The youngsters of today, they are so aware. And I feel, like I was such a dumb teenager or whatever. That's not really true. I feel the world as a whole is coming to terms with terms like, internalized misogyny, whatever, is now some language that my young cousin tells me. So when I was that age, that term didn't exist. And now, as a whole, even a 15-year-old and a 40-year-old, we're all learning a new vocabulary. We're all having the same conversation. So it's not like I was a dumb teenager. I was smart at that time and I'm smart. Dumb that time. I'm probably
absolutely.
Dumb now. So it's nice we are having this conversation and everyone is engaging at whatever level.
No, absolutely. In fact, in this, right now in the room itself, like Puneet has just come in. Puneet and I used to work together. I was actually his manager. So I am liking the fact that we are now in a world where, at least, I don't know if it was actually like that, but I remember growing up being taught that office is your colleagues and they will never be your friends or family or any such thing. And, don't dip your nib in the office ink and things like that. But Puneet is just one of the people, and I'm still in touch with a bunch of them. Similarly, Jyotsna is in her 20s. So that's a big age gap between me and her. But we have had some really, really fun and interesting conversations. And it's not a how is it for you versus how is it for my generation. There are points in which we seem to overlap considerably. It doesn't actually feel like there's that much different in the worldview she carries and what I carry. So that's pretty, I'm liking all those things about it.
And I think social media is a big part of it, that so many terms have now entered our collective conversation. Like the question you had asked that day about body hair and feminism, which I'm sure, if we all probably had different responses, and maybe you could track it down to the age of the person, where the person lives.
True.
I'm sure there's a pattern there, for all.
Absolutely. So incidentally, again, I just want to share this for the other people here in the room. After that fun conversation and that New Year party with 50 rupee biryani and spoonerisms and all that, I don't remember Lakshmi and I having a lot of conversations. Because again, keep in mind, we were just starting our careers. We had just graduated about some 4-5 months earlier. Colleges were not what they are today, where there's that entire structure and process for placements and all that. Engineering colleges to some extent may have had that, but I studied BSc and that was definitely not there. So there's no concept at all of where does your life go next. And on top of that, if you were a woman, the traditional way of looking at it would be, okay, you finished your studies and you're only studying to be marriageable. So the marriage market and so on and so forth. And for me, at least, there were a lot of challenges in that, partly because I grew up in a nuclear family. So the traditional system of finding a partner, that would be through your larger family and all that. I didn't have any of them in Bombay. And my parents were again, sort of cutting edge for their times, I'm guessing their generation. They didn't necessarily push me into that. And they did push me into career education because that's the South Indian family formula. So I knew I was going to do my MBA and all that. But, what is the next path? You don't automatically get admission. And is it MBA? Do you do MSc? There's no counselors. The internet is still in its very, very, very early days where, dial-up modems and all that. It doesn't even occur to you to go and look it up online. It's not like there are libraries that carry stuff like what to do next in your life. So we were just figuring it out as it went along. And this was literally like a chance meeting, like Lakshmi said, the two of us connected over something like Spoonerisms. And it was just like, oh, that's nice. I don't think it occurred to either of us to, let me hold on to this friendship because it's going to be something that'll be big. And I think you found me almost 10 years later, my blog, which was amazing because I was still anonymous at that time.
I recognize you from one of the pictures. I did.
Okay, so this must have been like my later stages of anonymity where I was putting up some pixelated pictures and all that, but that's still pretty amazing that you found me. And I remember we used to have arguments about feminism in the comments.
It was, I think, on a tweet. It was a Twitter comment, I think, about because I was just doing grad school here, so I had joined an MA program, and one of the courses I took was about women and communication or gendered communication, where that course pretty much exploded my head. There was so much I learned, so much. I mean, it was a semester of 3 months or 6 months or whatever, and there was so much I became aware of, even types of feminism, and I was just bursting with information all the time. And just
I remember that.
So
no, and it was actually a very good conversation because I remember I was. I didn't study anything to do with the humanities or feminism, communication, nothing. I had a fairly, science and then MBA and then the corporate world and market research and things like that. Blogging just kind of happened to me by mistake. Not a mistake, but, very happy mistake. But I was still finding my feet. And feminism was still a bad word. So somebody calling me a feminist would still feel like, okay, they're going to come and attack me. And I remember at that point of time, I started telling people, no, I'm not a feminist. Feminists are those people who've done amazing things like ensuring women got a vote and, women got to go to school and all that. I'm not doing anything that important. And that's around the time when I think we coincided, our paths met again. So a lot of what you said, I resisted at that time, but now looking back, that played a great part in reshaping how I started thinking about myself and what I was doing as well. So
but it's just that now, I went through a period where I thought, of course I'm a feminist, but then I feel that maybe this is also about age, and I don't even call myself a feminist anymore because it's almost as if, the term has its own baggage. Different people understand differently. So if I say I'm a feminist, it may mean something entirely different to you. And then we're not even talking about the term anymore. We're talking about what the term means to us. So then it's that I don't. I'm sure we all engage in conversations which are really feminist in nature. And we all have our ideas of what it is. And when I studied feminism, there are so many kinds of it. And I'm sure we would all fit in one category.
In a third wave, fourth wave. I've forgotten which wave we are. I've lost track of which wave we are on now.
This is the
we're still in the third wave. Okay.
And then there's earth feminists. And there's so many. So then I thought, so a lot of it is just going to be trying to fit to a term that you don't fully identify with. So then why?
True. Why? Yeah. No, I think that's a trajectory, that's a journey. I came upon it a little later than you, but I had a phase where I was engaging with the typical activist type here, the ones spouting a lot of the jargon, and I did that too. I've thrown out terms like internalized misogyny and patriarchy, and but at some point of time I came to the same. Okay, sorry about that. The music has gotten very loud. All right. Sorry. Better?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It started playing Chicago, the soundtrack, which is
Oh.
nice. It's not really 40-year-olds discussion music. I was trying to give this a whole. That's why I have this light on, this night light on, because I was trying to give this the vibe of, we are sitting and having glasses of wine, and I don't remember. Do you drink wine?
Don't drink alcohol. No, I don't.
Okay, grape juice. So you're having coffee. Okay.
No, it's just water actually.
Okay. All right. So, Jobio, but the mood, it just sounds very fun to have like a wine glass and, let's talk about life and crossing over 40 and feminism and our journeys. And
The funny part is, I think I don't have. I think you hang out or you are connected with people far younger than you. I am not. A lot of my friends or my current circle, they are my peers, my age or older than me. So the sense of being 40 or it being a certain age doesn't really dawn on me, because maybe it's because my social circle is so small right now, and so most of the people I hang out with are in that age or older.
Right.
And have children and teenagers and things like that. So it just takes you to a, I mean, in fact, I used to go to Tai Chi class where I was pretty much the youngest in the class because everyone there was the gym I go to. It's actually a lot of people who come to the gym are much older. They're recovering from some illness or they have some physiotherapy. So honestly, there also I'm one of the youngest people. So the sense of being 40 as fourth decade of my life, and maybe after a point you just feel as if I'm the same. I'm like the same 20-year-old that I was when I met you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course, I have a lot of grey hair and all of that, but that changes the fact
I can't see any of it, but
you don't like. There's tons of it. You see it now, but it doesn't change, right? You just feel as if I'm the same, and this happens to everyone. My father is turning 79 this year, and he doesn't feel his age.
Okay.
He says, I feel this. He says, I feel the same, So it's not an unusual thing to say that nothing has changed.
It is a gradual process, no? Because I know that I feel, okay, it's not that I feel different. I'm still the same person. But I know that I've come some way from the time I was 30 and the time that I was 20. Like the things we've been talking about. But 39 to 40 doesn't seem like a lot. 40 to 41 is not yet seeming like a lot.
Yeah.
In retrospect, we may be able to look back at it. But that's an interesting point. It's true that a large part of my social group, they're all younger than me. Partly because so much of my time I spend on social media, which is just tends to be a younger person's game.
Younger audience, yeah.
And it's not necessarily younger person. It's just like everyone is about 5-6 years younger to about, so they're in their 20s to mid 30s. But again, likewise, poetry as well. Most of them are in their 20s and some of them teenagers as well. And age seems to matter a lot when you're younger. So I think because almost every interaction, every session, someone is whining about, oh my God, I'm turning 25, I am so old, and oh my God, I'm not a teenager anymore. And so I'm constantly being, on one hand, I keep laughing it off and making a joke of it. But the other hand, it's very hard not to get pulled into that reference of seeing yourself and the whole world in terms of numbers. So, yeah. I don't know if you've heard this, but I get a lot of people saying things like, whoa, you don't look your age. And I'm like, I don't think that's true because most 40 and 40-something-year-olds I know look like this. I mean, you're a 40-something-year-old as well. And I don't know what we're expected to look like.
No, I think the general, the unsaid, the subtext there is that you're 40, you're not married, you don't have any children. So clearly they see you, they may not say you look, but they see you as very different from their mind average 40-year-old.
Yeah.
And now, you know what, that stereotype doesn't really exist because I know, 40-year-olds who don't fit into that mold, here in the United States and definitely in India also. So you don't look like that 40-year-old that I'm used to. The conversation doesn't go anywhere. Like, okay, whatever.
I think it's changing right now, but I felt it a lot through my 30s. It's changing right now in India, and I think it's for a very simple reason that a lot of those late 30s slash 40s, early 40s people are getting divorced, or other things are happening. So they are on sort of their second rung, where they are kind of, or in some cases they've had a health scare, so they are taking care of themselves better,
Right.
which translates to being more active, or whatever. These are all various forms of midlife crisis in some way. But I mean, it's a very nasty term, midlife crisis, but it's a certain taking stock of life and reorienting, pivoting. So I'm seeing more people now coming out and like going to a poetry event, for instance. So I'm not necessarily, I'm still almost always the oldest person in the room in most of these cases, but not by as much. It's
Right.
like by some
And
four,
that's
five
great,
years.
right? Because
Yeah, yeah,
ageism is a very real thing. People
yeah, yeah,
themselves check out of things because they feel, oh, I'm too old to do this, and we're realizing it's really not true. It really has entirely
yeah.
to do with what you feel
Yeah.
on the inside. Like there's a person who asked me to help him with a book he was writing. This is a gentleman in his 70s who had a bypass at the age of 50 something, and
Wow.
suddenly realized, oh my god, I have to change things. And since then his life turned around completely. He changed his diet, changed his lifestyle. He's run multiple marathons. He also ran the Mumbai Marathon.
Wow.
He did the Kailash Manasarovar Yatra. He went to Kilimanjaro. He's done a triathlon. So at the age of 50 or 60, and of course he's 70 plus, and the idea of somebody like that
Yeah.
climbing Mount Kilimanjaro or even doing the
Yeah. Yeah.
Kailash Manasarovar thing, it's huge, and it
True.
takes
True
its
that.
toll
Yeah.
on you. So he decided at that age that this is what I'm doing, and it wasn't easy, no means, but there was a drive there, and we are
True.
seeing
True.
that it's not just 25
Yeah.
year olds who do this anymore.
No, that's true. You're completely right in that. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I like to think I'm part of the people that's spearheading this broadening of the narrative that 40-year-olds can look like this as well, a 45-year-old can look like this as well, a woman can look like this as well, a woman can look like a single person at 41. She can look like married but child free, and all of
Yeah.
those as
In
well.
fact, even using the word child free, I don't say that because I know it's going to raise the hackles for many people, but child free is a term that many women now use, and
Yeah,
it's not something that people are necessarily going to get mad at. That
yeah,
are
yeah,
you,
yeah.
previously it was a bit of a contentious term,
True,
but
true,
yeah,
true. Yeah.
child free by
Yeah.
choice. So,
I saw a post on Instagram yesterday which was proposing the idea of calling ourselves marriage free. People like me, marriage free, rather than saying single or divorced or separated or any of that. And maybe that's just my age, but I don't think it actually changes my life so much, because I've already weathered those storms. People are still going to look at me, they're going to look at my resume or my birthday, and the question in their minds, they may not feel comfortable asking it, but the question in their minds is still going to be, okay, what's missing here? There is no husband to speak of, there is no child to speak of, so what is missing here, kind of a thing. And it's okay. I mean, I've kind of settled into that whole thing of people have whatever, either biases or people are learning, and they're learning at their own pace, and that's okay. It's fine.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we are actually at 11 right now, which
Mm-hmm.
for some reason Twitter seems to think it's some kind of magical time. Almost every time I'm online at this time, somebody tweets out saying 11:11. So I don't know if you know anything about that, but it is 11:11. Do you want to, maybe, I don't know if anyone has questions. There are only some 4 people left in the room,
I
but
know.
I'm just going back and looking at the comments. Do you want to do that and see if there's anything you
Yeah, I
want
can't see,
to
and I'm not very sure how to do this scrolling bit.
just
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm
just do that.
doing. But I
Huh.
don't see any questions. So,
Yeah. Oh, Anu has remarked about the dragonflies. Muskan. Okay, you're both audible. Mm.
I think I think maybe we could just talk a little bit about. I mean,
About
we're like
what?
halfway in 2020. So, what does the year
Yeah.
ahead look like for you? And
Oh, my biggest learning in the pandemic has literally, and I have struggled with this my whole life. I've been somebody who lives with, looking towards the past, and I back into the future, like this. I live this way, I'm going this way. Um, and I end up brooding a lot. I end up spending long nights in regret or overthinking stuff. It's just become a part of my personality. But the pandemic is really, really like forcing me to say, and it's part of that whole letting go of the baggage thing. Say let just savor what you have right now. So like today, it's been raining like crazy in Bombay. This monsoon has been, every monsoon has a couple of days when it pours like crazy.
right.
This monsoon seems to have had some 11 years worth of that, 11 or 12 years worth of that. And we are still only in August. I don't want to think about what September is going to be like. And it'll be a nightmare if it's like 2 years ago when the monsoon went on all the way till December. So I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't like the rain at all. And it's just very grey and dreary. And, I've been homebound since March. But I woke up this morning and I managed to I made a checklist and I just pushed myself to do each thing on my list. And there were 2 hibiscus flowers growing in the pot outside my window, which I've posted a picture of. And then around 5 o'clock, I was done with most of my work. And, I had a block of time. So I just sat down at the window and I was reading for an hour or so. And that whole, that whole image, I took a photograph of it also because I realized this is what peace looks like in my mind. Like these flowers outside the window and a book over there and a nice looking window seat and a hot mug of chai. And it just occurred to me, oh my God, it's there. And I don't know what I'm running towards, saying I want peace of mind, I want serenity, I want freedom, XYZ. It is right there. So I'm still kind of in that place. I don't know where, I have no idea, but I know at some point of time, we are all going to have to start coming out of the house. We're venturing out little by little. It's anybody's guess. And I've always prided myself on being a big strategist. And I used to professionally tell the future, being a market researcher. This time I just, it feels almost egoistic to even venture a guess. How the year is going to end.
Right.
I mean, I had no idea I would be sitting here and living in these times last year at this time.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think?
So here in the States, things have begun to open up little. I know people are traveling now, domestic. People are kind of trying to bring things back, business-wise, economy, and coming, some semblance of life as it used to be. So that is very evident, So I feel as if with time, and of course we have a major event. November is our election, so everybody gets to decide if we have 4 more years of Trump or we'll have 4 years of Biden. Which is every election year is pretty big in this country. There's just so much of conversation, debates, and this is highly this year is like 2016 again. Plus, Corona has made things more interesting. So I have a feeling now. I mean, to say the euphemism.
Yeah. True that.
But between now and November, I have a feeling a lot of the conversation will be about the election and what that could possibly mean. And I don't know if you saw the news, but
Kamala Harris.
Biden has picked Kamala Harris, and a lot of people are very happy about it because she has of Indian heritage. Her mother is Indian, her father, I believe, is Jamaican. So there's a lot of excitement to see our representation and all that. We'll see how much of a difference that actually makes. She's a very smart woman, so she's. So I have a feeling most of the conversations will be about that. But that apart, I think a lot of people will be just trying to see how they can come back to some kind of normalcy about whether they're traveling or going to visit family or just taking a vacation or starting to go back to the gym or even just go to a restaurant, things like that. I think they will be like what most of us will be doing, I think, in the next month.
True.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually, because yesterday was Janmashtami, which
Right.
is the which sort of signals the start of the second half of the year in Bombay, at least, because that's the first of
Festival calendar.
festivals. Yeah, going all the way till December, ending with New Year.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's Bombay. So there were still people who I saw someone at 1 in the morning. Across the road, this flat had lights on, and they seemed to be doing a puja because I could hear the shank glowing and all that as well. I don't know what Ganesh Chaturthi is going to be like because that's big for Bombay and that involves a lot
Navratri,
of crowds.
Diwali, all of that. Yeah.
Or Navratri or Diwali, right? And
Right.
in India, again, it's also these are Hindu festivals. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
In any
I
case,
don't.
one way, it's like, I mean, even here in the States, it's the beginning of all the Indian festivals. So, there's always opportunity for getting
Yeah,
together, meeting family,
yeah,
friends, food. And I have a
yeah,
feeling we'll try to do that in small scale and kind of at
yeah,
least connect with friends because for a lot of, I mean, I'll speak for myself, living here in the States, it's really nice when these festivals come around because it gives you an opportunity just to take your sari out, just to wear some
true.
jewelry.
Yeah,
It's a little pretext to do all of that.
yeah,
And this
yeah,
year
yeah,
with
absolutely.
things even more than, oh God, I'd love to wear a sari. Please God, let me wear a sari. Whatever.
True.
So
Yeah,
we'll see how that happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's pretty much the case here. Also, people are trying to move back into some semblance of normalcy. Shops have opened, and I am seeing people going out for walks and all of those. I wish they would be more careful because I'm not seeing too many masks and social distancing. Social distancing, I don't think Bombay will learn even after 4 months in lockdown. It just doesn't seem practically possible for Bombay. It's just too many
Yeah.
people crammed onto a tiny island.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. I mean, just fingers crossed, right? We'll
It'll be
make it
good.
through
I'm
this
sure
year.
things will improve. Things
I
will
hope so too. I
feel
hope so
better.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do hope
Cool.
so. So on that note, should we close this?
Yeah. Yeah. We should.
This was a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean we'll catch up later and talk about this and see how we can refine this, polish this, and all that. But for the 4 people who are still here, thank you. I can see.
Joining.
So Lakshmi, I don't know if you're able to see it at the top. Can you see 4?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, I can see only one person in that list though. When I'm seeing it says 4, but I can only see Anu on the list. I don't know, maybe it's an Instagram glitch. But
Probably.
okay,
Okay.
so okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
also save this video, but I think it'll only appear on my profile. I don't think Lakshmi will be able to save it. But
That's
yeah. Thank
I'll
you, Anu. Thank you so much. Anu is a wonderful, supporter of everything that I do. She's also an Alphabet Sambar planner member, and she's responsible for organizing and managing a lot of the events we are having right now. So thank you so much, Anu, for being here. And Jyotsa, if you're still here as well, thank you for signing in, and thank you to all of Lakshmi's friends also who are here. Okay.
Okay.
Bye, Lakshmi.
So
See you.
bye. Bye.
Have a wonderful afternoon and night. It's 11. It's almost 11:20 now. 11:20
Okay.
p.m. here. So you say good night to me. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.